Hello everyone, my name is Phúc. Today I'm going to present a topic which is remote physical device fingerprint. Someone can use this technique to obtain information to identify um, whether multiple devices on the network are unique or they are the same. Um, Here is the overview of what I'm going to present today. Uh, I'm gonna do a quick introduction about the fingerprint and some background about the clock and the clock schools, which is used to create the fingerprint in this paper. And then I'm gonna go over two methods that the author used to get the timestamps by exploiting the TCP and ICMP headers. And next, I'm gonna go over the clock schools distribution and the stability. And next, I'm gonna go over the application of the remote physical device fingerprint. And finally, gonna be the conclusions. Introductions. For humans, we can identify individual by their fingerprint. Each fingerprint is unique and similar to human. Machine can be assigned a unique device fingerprint. And for this paper, the authors push the idea further and assign a physical device fingerprint remotely. So the device will not be aware that they are being tracked. So they have no idea about the fingerprint. And that can be done by exploiting a small device hardware, which is clock schools. And there are two roles in this game. The first one is called the fingerprinter, which is a measurer or the attacker or the adversary. And the second one is called fingerprinting. And there are three classes of fingerprinting techniques. The passive technique, the fingerprinter must be able to observe the traffic from the device. And the active technique, the fingerprinter must have the ability to initiate the connection with the device. So, for example, they can be the website or the ISP service provider. Semi-passive technique is after the device initiate a connection, a fingerprinter has the ability to interact with the device over the connections. And a clock and the clock schools. So a clock is designed to represent the amount of time that has passed since some initial time. And clock schools, which is used to create a unique fingerprint for the device. And the clock school is first derivative of offset with time different device, and they are different in frequency of different clocks of device in different networks, and it is measured in microseconds per seconds. A fingerprinter can use the information within the TCP headers or the ICMP package to estimate a device clock skew and create a fingerprint. For these topics, the author explored two different clocks: the clock corresponding to a device system time, or internal clock to a device network stack, which is in TCP headers and ICMP packets. So for the system clock, it is often synchronized with the NTP servers, but usually on default, the operating system does not synchronize with the NTP server frequently. And here I'm gonna go over a method that used by the author to obtain the clock skews. So the author exploiting the TCP timestamps in the TCP headers. So first, I'm gonna talk about the measurers. Uh, the measurer can be any device capable of observing the TCP packet. That can be the ISP or Google website or any news website. For the semi-passive fingerprinter, it it can be tricked the fingerprinting by reply a scene at packet with timestamps. After that, the device will think they didn't include the TCP timestamps options with their initial sync packets and include the TCP timestamps option in all of their subsequent packets. After a certain time, the fingerprinter collect enough the TCP packet, and then it's gonna compute the slopes of the function OT. In the picture here, the black bar is all of the X and Y data that created by obtained from the TCP packet. The small t is the time in second that the fingerprinter observe the packet, and it use the linear programming to get the slope of the function O. So the blue upper bound shown in the picture of the black and the red bar is the slope of the function O, which is the clock skews, and that is the fingerprint of the device. The next method to obtain the clock skews is exploiting the ICMP packet. Similar to techniques used for the TCP, the measurer for exploiting the ICMP timestamps request can be any website or any device on the internet. However, the device must not be behind a NAT or the firewall, because the ICMP packets can be filtered out by the NAT rules or the firewall rules. That's why in this paper, the author favor more about the TCP method, because it can identify the device behind the firewall or the NAT. The ICMP timestamp reply message will contain two 32-bit values generated by the fingerprinting. The first value is the timestamp of the request, and then the second value is the timestamp of the reply. And after getting all the packets after a certain time, then the clock skew can be found similar to the TCP method, which is using the linear programming to compute the slope of the function O over the data x and y over time. In order to prove the clock skews is good enough for the remote device fingerprint, the author also did some experiments over on the same device or over multiple devices. So the authors would like to show that in different device clock skews, we're gonna see on different device we're gonna see different clock skews, and also on some experiments the author also showed that the clock skews is constant over time, so it means the fingerprint is not changed. Here is the distribution of the clock skews over time. The amount of the information available to the adversaries increase as time increase, and then the packets increase. So in the picture here, so we can see that the fingerprinter can obtain at least some information about the device. So and here is the experiment on different devices that run the same hardware. Even though the machine that have the same hardware, but they have different slope. So I show in the picture here, we have a lot of different color and different slopes. This means that each of them has a unique fingerprint. And next, I'm going to talk about the stability of the clock skews. So the experiment is to show that the clock skew is constant over time, it's not changed. So it means the fingerprint is stick with the device, doesn't matter what. For example, on the left table, so it shows the TCP timestamps of the laptop from multiple locations. So even though the device is run from different location, but the clock skews is not changed much, so almost constant. So as you can see in the last column, and then on the top right column, the clock skews is also the same, even though the measurer is different. So let's show on the second column, skew estimate. So some of them is far away from California, from UK, and from Singapore, but the clock skews is not changed much. And then on the bottom right table is the clock skews with is the device with different OS, and then the author also shows us that even though with NTP enable, the clock schools is not changed. So as you can see on Red Hat, two device running Red Hat, one with NTP enable and the other one without, the clock schools is still constant. Same thing apply for the Windows operating system. And next, I'm going to talk about the applications used for the remote device fingerprint. So it can be used to counting the number of device behind an act, or it can also be used to identify the device, the virtual device, and it can also be used for forensics and tracking individual device. And then it can be used to like review the anonymous data set. In conclusion, I think remote physical device fingerprint is a good technology. First of all, it is easy to implement and easy to adapt, because most modern computer nowadays still don't have the detachable clock school yet. And secondly, it is able to trace a device behind the NAS system, or even some device that running in the virtual environment. However, there is some limitations for this technology. For example, if the device doesn't have the TCP timestamps enabled, so it will not work. The first requirement for it to work is it has to have the TCP timestamp or ICMP packet. For example, Windows 2000 and Windows XP machines, the TCP timestamp is disabled by default. I would like to thank you to the authors of this paper. This paper is selected from the reference in the fingerprint topic mentioned in the Excel file. And if anyone have any questions, please feel free to send me the email or create the questions in the forum. I will try my best to answer the questions. And thank you for your time to watching my presentation. Thank you.